Are you a beginner sewer wanting to buy your very first sewing machine so that you can learn how to sew? It is a big step, but if you buy the right sewing machine, it will be with you for a very long time and help you through many, many fun projects along the way. So let's talk sewing machines. So let's talk about what features you're going to need your sewing machine to have for sewing clothes. And there are really only a few basic things that are absolute must-haves for sewing clothing. And those are, of course, your standard straight stitch, which just about any sewing machine will have a straight stitch. You also want to make sure that it has a zigzag stitch capability. If you buy a straight stitch only machine, you are going to have trouble when it comes to sewing stretchy fabrics because they need a zigzag stitch in order to allow the fabric to stretch. You're also going to want a back stitch so that you can secure the stitching line at the beginning and end. And you probably want a buttonhole stitch if you plan on sewing anything with buttonholes, because it's so much easier to use a machine that has a buttonhole stitch than to manually sew buttonholes with a zigzag stitch. Another feature that you might want to have is speed control. This is not an absolute must-have feature, but it's really nice to have. I often lower the speed on my machine when I'm going through a tricky area and don't want the machine to get too fast and make it difficult to sew. And that's really great for beginners, especially because you can slow that stitching speed down and you have more time to think through and process and focus on what you're doing, rather than having your machine just get kind of fast and out of control, and helps you feel like you have more control while you're sewing. Now let's talk sewing machine brands. So there's a lot of off-brand, inexpensive sewing machines out there, but I very, very, very highly recommend that you stick with one of the bigger, well-known brands, because they have the quality and the years of experience behind them, so you know that the machine that you're getting is a quality machine that's going to last you for many years. And most of these brands, while they are more expensive than those off-brand machines, you can get little machines for less than $100. These are going to be a little more expensive than that, but the quality is worth it, and most of those brands also have a selection of machines on the lower end of their price spectrum, and they're not going to be their fancy high-end machines, but they have really great machines that can do everything that you need for sewing clothes at the low end of the price range for each of those brands. So the brands that I would recommend that you go with are Bernina, Singer, Brother, Pfaff, Juki, Genome, or Baby Lock. Those are all really great brands, and you can count on the quality of machines from those brands. So this machine here was my very first machine that I got right when I left for college. So I did use my mom's machine during high school, but after high school, when I moved out to go to college, I wanted my own machine, and so this Pfaff Passport 2.0 is the machine that I ended up getting for my first machine. And as you can see, I still have it, and it is still my primary machine. I have sewn tons of clothes on that machine. It's a really reliable machine. It's definitely one of their lower end models for the Pfaff brand. It's a very basic machine. It doesn't have all the fancy things that their high-end machines have, but it works perfectly for what I need. It's a small size, which was perfect when I was going off to college because I was moving into a dorm room where I didn't have much space. So it was a great machine for me to start out with, and even now when I have my own whole sewing room, I still use that machine and it works absolutely great for me. So the Pfaff Passport machines I would definitely recommend as a great machine for a beginner. They're definitely not the lowest price option out there for a beginner. They are on the low end of Pfaff's lineup, but they are a little bit of a more spendy brand compared to some of the others. So I think that machine is somewhere around $600 or $700 right now, but I could be wrong about that. So And also that could change. So definitely if you're interested in that machine, just go ahead and look it up and you can see what the price is. But there are some other machines that I would recommend as great machines for a beginner sewer. So let's get into a few suggestions. So some other machines that I would recommend for beginner sewers are the Brothers CS6000i, the Bernina 335, the Singer 7258, the Baby Lock Joy machine, as well as the Genome Magnolia 7318. Now, before you actually make your sewing machine purchase, I very highly recommend that you make a list of sewing machines that you are interested in, and then head out to your sewing machine dealer and try out those machines, because really choosing a machine is a super personal choice, and most dealers should let you try the machines that they have, and then you can get an idea of which machines are more intuitive for you to use and just feel all around like a better fit for you specifically. I hope that you found this video useful and you're able to find that perfect sewing machine that will be your partner for all of the projects that you're so excited to try out. And don't forget to subscribe for more sewing tips and tutorials, and I'll see you next week.